Hi everybody, this is week 10 of the Photo Africa Weekly Chat. My name is Gerry. It's taken 10 weeks for us to get here. It's not a hell of a milestone, but you know, I think from where this started to where I am now, I'm pretty happy with how it's going. And the feedback from you guys have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. There is, the questions, comments, the input and the sharing, and that's what it's all about. That's what this is about. So I was originally going to try and do this all in one episode, but it's not going to be possible. There's a lot to get through. I'm going to do quite a bit of feedback on the bucket lists, the photo sharing sites, what else? There's a little cropping tutorial for Lightroom, how to crop your images and some tips there. And then also, if you have been following this for a while, it is week 10, so a little bit of news on what's happening. Lots of changes coming up, so yeah, stay tuned for that. First off, before we get going, just a quick one. Yesterday, if you follow the blog post, I stuck up an image there about a young lion cub with a beer bottle hanging out of its mouth. Alright, you might think, what? Or, haha, funny. That's exactly the point. I got a couple of emails from people very, very upset with me for posting that image. Now, I think we all can agree it is absolutely despicable and disgusting and horrible that anybody would actually take a bottle and toss it out their window while driving in a game reserve. I didn't put the bottle there. So, yes, I agree. People like that should be dragged onto the street and flogged and shot and beaten and whatever the case is. But you have to see the humor. I mean, lion cub, bottle hanging out. So, what I did, and this is on the humor side of things, is I posted the image up on the blog. I'll have the link underneath this photo, this video. And I asked, what would you name this photo? What would you call it? There are some phenomenally funny, interesting, and quite bizarre taglines that people put to this photo. So check it out. Send me your thoughts. And yes, I know, we agree, it's despicable, it's not right, but yeah, it's funny. Right, moving on. Some feedback from last week on the photo sharing site. Which social networks, which sharing photo websites do you put your work up? The question was that with so many out there, where do you stop? Or where do you start for that matter? And the feedback has been quite varied. However, I think there is an alarming theme that runs through all the comments and emails I did receive, and that is that people are not getting what they want from photo sharing sites. I'm not gonna drop the name. I mean, I've got some detailed names and website addresses of what they think and what they feel and that. So let's keep it clean. However, I do feel there is a problem of the way people crit each other's photos, share information, and just the whole idea around what to do your photos and so on. So a couple of feedback that I had on photo sharing. Which site do you use? Mark, for example, said he's tried many of these sites to put up your images, show people, and get responses, crits, and comments, and he has not found any help or inspiration on these sites. Common thread running through this. Alarm bells. Mark then also continues. Long email. Thanks for that. I like that. The feedback. And guys, you're not rambling when you send me a comment. I like that. It tells me what you guys want. It tells us where the industry is going, what you guys need, and so on. So hopefully that helps. Mark also then says he sometimes feels, based on some of the comments he gets, that his images are not good enough to share yet. Now, that it's a difficult thing because, yes, you do feel that. You look at other people's images and you think, that is unbelievable. Mine can't be that good. You know what? That's rubbish. It's complete rubbish. Mark, put your work up everywhere if you want to. Put it on your own site, but share it with people because that's why we do what we do. It's no fun just taking pictures and keeping it for yourself on your phone, on your screen top. You need to share your work. So what I've done is I have added Mark's link to his website at the bottom of this video. So check it out. Go on, tell him what you think of his work, and Mark, keep going. Do what you do. That's what it's about. Another one from Nobby, or South African wildlife photographer. He says on some of the main sharing websites, it's always the same people. The same people that do the things, same people that comment, and it's always the same comments. And then he says something that's a very common thread, and I echo this completely, is that it feels like on these sites there's a little group, a little clique, and it's those guys and girls who comment on each other's work and they are above everybody else. It is complete crap. Sorry, but it is. Photography is about the image, and it's only about the image. It's not about which photo, which camera you used, how you shot it, how long you've been commenting on other people's images, and. It's about the image. So yes, there is a click feeling, bad thing, But then what Nobby continues to do is he shares most of his work on his Facebook page, and the reason for it, I love this, is to share his work and enjoy the recognition for it. Fantastic. I absolutely love that, because it's nice to hear people saying, you know, that's a great shot. So if you see something you like, tell people this. What I've done, again, I've added Nobby's website underneath this video. So go check it out. Join his Facebook page. Tell him I sent you. And if you like something, tell him. Right. So all these links I mentioned, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube Direct, you need to go to photoafrica.com, and underneath the embedded web video, you'll see all the links that I'm mentioning. So not on YouTube, but you need to go to Photo Africa page. Then last one quickly is Mark, and then a couple of other people also echoed something similar, that they find with all these photo sharing sites, whatever it is that you put your work up, South African, I don't know, Nigerian, US, whatever, all over the place, there's not enough help. People don't share. They don't, and not only sharing, they don't help each other out, guide them. If there's critique, it's go negative. It's very quickly about, you must not do this, this, this. There's no comment that says, you know, that's great, but why don't you try this? Again, it comes back to the click and that negativity. Horrible thing. And then I think what's an interesting one is a lot of people say they are looking for a legitimate forum without that inherent, I'm going to use the word that I came up, is bitchiness. About yours is better than mine, what camera, blah, blah, blah. All the same stuff all the way. So, yeah, photo sharing sites. If you have more thoughts, send them through, and you're not rambling. I love hearing it. I read all of them. I'll try and get to them at some stage, either on these chats or by email, and then we'll see what we can figure out. But I do think, and from what I'm seeing, there is a gap. We need a place where we can share our images, no negativity, learning, growing experience, because that's what it's about. So, again, check out 500 pics from last week. It is the most phenomenal photography on there, from wildlife to fine art to landscapes, architectural, and I have yet to see a negative comment on this thing. I mean, it's all fine if we have a little party of self-appreciation, but there needs to be a growing aspect of it. So, with that, let's move photo sharing sites on the way. For now, cropping in Lightroom. I'm going to jump onto our next part. Cropping in Lightroom, little tutorial here. Originally was going to be 2 minutes. It's ending up on 5 minutes. So, here we go. 5 minutes worth of cropping, some shortcuts, some tools and things like that. And then I'll be back after this. All right. For today's Lightroom tutorial, we're going to have a very, very quick look at the cropping tool. Now, so far what we've been doing is we've been playing with basic adjustments. We've touched a bit here on detail, which is sharpening and noise reduction, and we've also had a bit of a look at color. Let's drop those for now and look at just the cropping tool, which you'll find here under the special adjustments, this little square here. Before we get there, have a look at the image. One of the biggest things that detracts from an image is a skew horizon. So, that we can also fix with the cropping tool. So, it tilts over to the side. Not ideal. Right, so click on the cropping tool, and then you'll see it opens up a whole new set of tools underneath, all of them related to cropping and straightening of your images. Before we start playing with that, if you just look at the grid that gets placed over the entire image. Now, what you will see is automatically you've got your rule of thirds, the grid over here. Compositionally, this will help you when you do your cropping, where you place your PowerPoints as you crop. A couple of keyboard shortcuts before I get here. While you're in the cropping tool, you can use certain keyboard shortcut. For example, if I click the letter O once, it changes. Watch, I click it again. You get different grids over the image that you can use for when you're cropping. Right, so then we're back to the first one. Again, let's cycle through them. You click once for O, gives you a slightly closer rule of thirds. You get diagonal lines to line things up and down different segments that you can use. Oh, there's your golden mean. On the golden mean, I hope you're writing this down. If you hold shift and you click O, you can rotate that and see wherever you are wanting to use that as an overlay while you are doing your cropping. Let go of shift, click O again. Little grid if you want to do check buildings being upright and things like that. O once more and we're back to normal. Right, so O, very nice keyboard shortcut to change your overlay. Also, while I've got my grid, while I'm in the cropping tool, I can click X. Watch. What it does is it keeps the proportion of my original grid and it just changes it into a different orientation. Clicking it again changes that orientation back, but now to the middle of the frame. If I now keep on clicking X, you'll see it just keeps it there. Right, very, very handy. Little shortcuts to know just makes your workflow that little bit easier. Right, I'm going to drag this guy out so we can start from scratch. Right, turning it off. That's your little intro. Now, let's see what we can do with the cropping tool. Click to open. Alright, the first thing I will automatically do to this image, take the angle, is very skewy here, so I want to straighten my horizon. Two ways. Number one, watch the cursor. If I bring it up to the corner, it gets the little bent arrows. If I now click and hold, I can turn the image by click and holding the mouse all the way around. Right. Difficult because you've got to keep watching, and sometimes it is a bit tough. Easier way, you come down, you click on this little ruler, the angle. Click once. Now you come and you draw a straight line where you want the horizon to be. So click, drag it across. That would be straight for me, more or less. Let go, and then Lightroom automatically adjusts, and it brings the crop in. If I'm happy with that, I click done. I can just click enter as well. Right, so there we go. Straighten the horizon, easy as that. Open my cropping tool again. Whenever I click done, it'll close this special adjustment tool. Right, so that's the angle and straightening your horizons. Crops, if I'm looking for a specific size crop, I'll click over there, and I can then draw whatever I want. You'll see that the proportions are constrained now. We'll get to that in a second. Let's say I want that. Okay, not too bad. Click enter. All right, what I do is while this little key lock here is locked, you can see it's locked, nothing's going to change. The proportion cannot change. It'll always stay to the original. It says it over here. You can also now click on the two arrows, and that'll give you different proportions. If you're going to do printing or things, you can give 5:7, and your whole proportion will always be stuck, whatever you do, in that proportion. All right. You can look for a 1:1, for example, a square crop, and you can grab it anywhere, and then it'll always stay in that square crop for you. Very easy. Again, when you're done, click enter, and it closes the tool. All right. Open it again. If I want to reset all of the cropping that I have done so far, open my crop tool for these tools, come to reset, click it, and we're back to normal. That is priceless in Lightroom, because in Photoshop you cannot undo your crops. You have to backtrack the whole process. I can now keep on working through this whole image and later on come back and just reset, and my crop is back while keeping all my other adjustments. Very handy. Right, what else are we missing here? I can lock open and close my lock just by clicking on it there. And if that lock is open, it means I can do any kind of shape crop that I want, either in portrait or in landscape. So that's very handy. Watch the little keypad, key lock, right? We're going to let go. Let me just reset that. I'm not going to go into constraint to wrap. What this means is if you tick this, and later on we'll get to lens corrections, it just means that you're not going to lose any information on the outsides of your image. So for now, let's leave that. Easy one. Cropping, very handy. Obviously, you want to do as much of it as you can inside of your camera while you are shooting, but nice. If I wanted to, for example, in this image, just want to lose the tree in this corner, I will just drag it across a little bit. Done. Distracting elements. All right, that is the cropping tool. If you have any questions, give us a shout, and we'll pick up again from next week. All right, back we go. Right, you've just finished your Lightroom tutorial, and I've just had a drink of some other cold drink tasting beverage. So, cropping, if you have any other questions, let me know. After, in part 2, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the bucket list question that we asked. There's a lot of very cool stuff that people sent in. Stuff I never thought of, but now it's now on my bucket list. And then also some questions that came in. We are going to look at, what else? Oh, big changes coming up for me in Photo Africa. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And, yeah, some free things for you to download in part 2. So, grab yourself a drink. I'm going to have another sip of this pink drink. I know we don't drink pink drinks. It's an ad in South Africa, moving on. But that's all we had for now. So, I'll see you in part 2 after this.